I want to talk about Chime. As I said before, I'm gonna, continue to do videos until I can't. Um, but I want to talk about Chime. Now I've had several interactions with them. Several. I don't like Chime. I really don't. They especially the local Michigan call center. I don't like dealing with them. I some of these people, maybe one one or two. I worked at a similar call center with not many, but one or two people I've talked to so far. I've interacted with customer service. One, two, three, four, five, six, maybe 7 or 8 times. But that being said, they hang up on people, especially the people that are connected to Michigan, maybe Saginaw. One of these people I used to work with. Um, I know for sure at least one, unless it's a voice twin, which those are the coincidence. The coincidental statistic of knowing somebody who is a voice twin, two different people. You're talking astronomical. But those odds, yeah, I wouldn't bank on it. Probably is the same person. But anyway, so they will retaliate. They will shut off your MyPay. What your MyPay is basically advance. Um, there's a fee and somewhat of an interest, but an interest rate that you pay, but it's smaller than going to a payday advance place. Um, and also it helps your credit because they will apply it, towards your if you're a member of their credit programs, it gets applied towards credit programs. Or you could just go with and get their secured card. But they will retaliate quickly. How they've retaliated with me now because I'm complaining because there are arbitrary rules around deposits. Is it going to be 2 days or 4 days? And how come I can't see it once it hits their bank? The last time I see it is when my pension leaves the VA and goes to Treasury, which depending on how busy things are, could be 1 to 3 days. Treasury's not slow; they're pretty fast, especially with electronic stuff. That's why people get their tax refunds in 1 to 2 days or 1 to 2 weeks. I'm sorry, not 1 to 2 days. Um, Sometimes up to 3 weeks, but vast majority is going to be 1 to 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe. But they're pretty good about that. Unless it's a high tax or high, like a Wednesday, Friday, payday, stuff like that. First of the month, middle of the month, end of the month, DOD. Um, I'm not sure about state or treasury employees, but anyway, those are times when there's a little more, traffic, internet traffic regarding transfers. But generally, they're pretty good, 1 to 3 days for EFT. But so when my pension leaves the VA and then it disappears for 5 to 10 days, I don't like that. Um, you know, customers should be able to call into their bank and say, "Hey, have you received anything yet? What's the settlement date?" Not, "Well, we don't know where it is. We don't have access to that information." Um, I don't know. Can I be transferred to wires? Well, we don't have a wiring department per se because we release manually. So it just disappears for a week, to 2 weeks. I don't know where it is. I don't like that. In the business world, that's a no-go. People want to know from the point of transfer from their office to the point of reception transfer at another office. Why am I any different than a Fortune 500 company? How am I different? In the big scheme of things, especially in the business world, I'm the same because I use word of mouth in my advertising, whereas Fortune 500 company, it's marketing. But anyway, I don't buy the current rhetoric that businesses with enormous amounts of capital are more important than the capital, which is our people. I don't buy into that. Neither did President Lincoln, which is why I support the Lincoln Project 100%. If I had more money, I'd give him money. Volunteer if I had more time and better health. But that being said, watch out for Chime. They're crossing boundaries like some other banks out there do. The banks you buy in the stores, those little cards. Um, I don't have much bad experience with not OnePay. That's Walmart. GoPay, I forget. It's Green Dot, but the reviews are horrible. I won't go to them. The reviews are horrible. They cross boundaries. They let accounts get easily locked. They make it really difficult to wire out. No thanks. No thanks. Um, Actually, I had that problem with Hire One back in the day too. But they're the only ones that do banking specifically targeting students. Tuition payments, school refunds, tuition, or stipends, from parents, and they control all that stuff. They specialize in it. They're now Bank Mobile Vibe. Um, I have mixed opinion about them, and this video isn't about that. But I was with them back when they first started, way, way back. It's about 25 years ago, maybe. Um, no, longer, about 30 years, I think. Maybe 30 or 35, I think. Um, no, wait, no, about 20 years. Yeah, it would have been about 20 years. But yeah, I've had my issues with them. But these banks that allow predatory practices and they limit what overseas call centers can do, like so Americans were better than the other people. Largely my experience, we're going to work at a call center in India, in the Philippines, in Singapore, and Venezuela, or not Venezuela. Gosh, there's couple of big ones in Argentina, maybe Argentina, um, Panama. Anyway, there's Hong Kong, Malaysia. But they limit, generally the American banks limit what the customer service people can do overseas. And my experience of overseas, if you're working at a call center or a back office processing center, you're going to be more educated than your American counterparts, generally. Um, Especially in Southeast Asia, they want you to have a bachelor's degree. So, but that being said, Chime is really, really retaliating. Even my overdraft protection, they're messing with it. I'm sorry, I don't have a stand or anything. Um, and it's really annoying. It's wavy like I'm on a boat. I wish I was, but I'm not. But it's my hand issues and the fact that I don't have a stand. But they're also screwing with overdraft by turning it off. So then I have to move money back and forth between my credit account and my checking account and move it back and forth, back and forth. And they make it impossible that I can even use my overdraft protection. And then again, my pay, which helps my credit and is always paid back immediately. To retaliate, they basically cut it in about a little bit under half. And they say, "Oh, your spending has changed." No, it's not. And they're always repaid immediately from my salary. Immediately, I verify things and set it up so they're automatically paid back. But it's kind of like what people do to us around Saginaw. Find anything possible to throw off our budget, vandalize our car, come into our house, ruin something, or steal something, um, or hack something and burn it up internally. Um, Thankfully, nothing has actually caught on fire yet, but a couple of routers got really close. um, just so they can screw with our budget to keep us imprisoned here. But the stuff that Chime is doing is really, really similar. And now they just hang up on you. When I call to inquire what's going on and why are you doing this to me, they hang up. And I asked them, I'm like, justify why you reduced my pay amount and why people keep, turning on and off the settings for my overdraft. No answer. They hung up. I think some of these people live in my complex too, which would mean they're connected to Morley. Your call center and you're from Saginaw area, you're connected to Morley. Whether as direct hire or a 1099. I used to work there. It's greatly changed since the founder passed away. Greatly changed. But so I advise people to watch out for Chime. If you can't access your money, they're going to put you in a situation that may compromise the safety, security, or peace of mind of you and your family. And believe me, there's nothing more important than that. And certainly don't send a message to the financial world that you're somebody they can victimize.